and they sleep beneath the limbs, while we sing these mourning hymns as the dead embrace the land in the earth's embalming hand. Wooden gravestones standing tall by the sorrow's weary hall. Are the leaves now bearing fruit? Will the dead now follow suit? Are the Alfar nature's meat food the ravens meant to eat? Why do soldiers hang like tears? Why Tuatha covet fears? Hanging gallows tree, spreading baleful tyranny, ruined terror of the war, hallowed ground for nevermore.
The jester of the King of Winter, the fool who made a mockery of life, of everything, languished in a discontent. He heard the whisperings of power, felt its pulse. He saw visions of an endless winter, of a totality of nothingness. He was Gadflow, and he would follow the cycle no longer. I have waited for you, mortal. It is not the nature of my kind to anticipate. And yet here I am, with these emotions thrust upon me. I have only just awoken in this plane, and yet I find change, chaos running rampant. Who are these Tuatha? What has happened to our midden? The Winter Realm is racked by war, my people's magic in decline, and mortals scurry over my homeland. A travesty that I must right, one mortal at a time. There is an order to all things. Summer to winter, growth to rot. So it was when I last walked these lands. What has happened while I slept is an affront to nature. The Fae declining while you mortals wage open war with them. Impossible. The Winter Court is sundered. If these Tuatha care not for the natural order, then I shall restore it. Come deeper into Tyne Hill and witness the strength of winter. And so you arrive. That you made it all the way to this chamber unscathed is just another reason why you must be killed. Or perhaps I won't kill you outright. The strongest I keep on the edge of life, to use their energies to sustain this place, to rebalance the scales. The world has changed, mortal. You have heard it said before. I am certain. But you can never sense it as I can. The long winter was birthed by my fallen kind, and though it may one day be reversed, it will never be undone. The cycle has already begun its fracture. I only hope there will be a time for healing, and that when I rise again, I shall be reborn to it. Goodbye, mortal.
You have returned. Have you had... Very well. Let me... If you find you have time to look... Go with the gods.
Have you made... Thank the gods you were able to recover the reconnaissance the Venris carried. This information would have proved disastrous in the wrong hands. When the Tuatha tossed Venris in here, I feared all might have been lost. But thanks to you and his wolf, the armies will not suffer the same fate as Venris. Take this. It is not much, but it is what we can offer, along with our thanks. Thank you for recovering this information. It is not much, but we need to make sure we stay away from the Tuatha's movements. All information helps. Farewell.
Oh. I can feel it. It is over then. The headsmen will bother our encampment no more. I hate this place. That it might drive a soul to think butchering us was some kind of justice, and what he did to those prisoners. But it's over now. We don't have much to offer, or rather, much to spare. But please, accept whatever reward we can give you. Many thanks, stranger. Goodbye.
got plenty of supply. As if you've got him back again.
Stay out of...
Hello, hello.
Tinkerer.
So it's done. Better you than me, I suppose. With the war still raging, there's always plenty of bad news to deliver. You should see the stacks of them in Rathir. Thank you. You have more courage than I do. And I've stared into the eye of the enemy. Take this. It's my weekly pay. I can't bear to feel its weight.
Hail. So two are dead, and Herc still lives. That is good news, at the least. Though I'll need to have words with him about refusing to check in when he was supposed to. Still, I owe you much. Take this gold in gratitude. Perhaps in the coming days we can work together again. He's a good scout, although he is a little too independent at times. Farewell.
And so you have come. Whether to aid the house or rain punishment on the Tuatha, I do not know. That you are here is enough. To assuage your confusion, I am Bizarane, king of the house. During your trials, I will observe and communicate to you through this medium. This is about you, of course. You are the only mortal to be given a chance to join the House of Sorrows. But do not think such an offer is given out of honor or respect for you. What drives me to this offer is what brought you here. Necessity. Through the crystal you see before you, it is not magical in and of itself, but a conduit for my own magic. All your actions will be known to me. Every word will be listened to. What you do is of no concern to me. What I hope to evaluate is what you are, to know how you might best help the house. I have locked the way behind you. The way forward is your only path out of these halls. I can tell you no more, other than that I will be watching.
mortal! The beast will kill me if you do not help! Beast roam these halls, mortal. Once these lands were quiet, gentle. Now they mean to kill all that tread upon it, even the Winter Fae. My people have lived in peace for decades, centuries. But now we're awash in war and corruption, and we cannot stop it. I do not know. The Midden, it has been sullied. We've never feared such assaults until recently. Wait, what was that? It is here!
And so you have completed your first trial. Your actions spoke volumes, but your reactions are just as pertinent. You killed the creature that was chasing that woman. Why? It would be at great fault if I did not know something of you, the mysterious mortal without a fate to call his own. Your lack of fate is intriguing, I will admit. And although it is why I summoned you, it does not represent the whole of your nature. Hence, the need for evaluation. Ahead, you will find a Fae of Sorrows succumbing to poison. I am interested to see what you make of him.
Please, are you the mortal that Bizarrain has brought to aid us? The one he has promised? Thank mercy I have been poisoned. But now that you are here, you can kill me. Please, end my suffering. I do not know. It is some poison. In other times, the Fae would not be vulnerable to this. But we are weaker now. We are prone. I could have walked from this once. But now... Please, mortal. I know it's strange, but the Fae are not like you. Death is different to us. I will rise once more in time, but killing me will let me escape this suffering. I do not know. Everything is blurred. I do not even know where I am. It must have been him. He does whatever he cares with his subordinates. It was Bizarrain. He was meant to save us from the Tuatha, to preserve our oldest traditions, to protect the Winter Fae. You will just let me suffer cruel.
So, you spared the sword. I wonder, was it some sense of honor that stayed your blade, or something crueler? I lead a court of Winterfey who wish to free these lands from the Tuatha, and we have gone too long without new blood. You have demonstrated substantial worth. One trial remains. You have reached this chamber at last. The time of trial is over. No more apparitions, no more questions. The House of Sorrows has always held a precarious position in this world, and now we hold on to it by the tips of our fingers. You think you have broken the Tuatha's grip on Cluracan. You have not. Even now, the Winterfey and the House of Sorrows are subject to their malice. I am the King of Sorrows. I have held dominion over these halls, over this house, over the Winterfey who dwell here. But the war upon Cluracan has sapped me of my strength. Should these times continue, I may become nothing. Nothing at all. It is we who permit the Winterfey to rise above their basic nature, to foster decay and ruin. A nature that normally divides rather than unites. For a time, the House avoided the war that cleaves this land. But now that war is upon us, and we are not ready. I am not one to take anything on faith. If I wish to know an object's worth, I examine it for myself. This trial is designed to demonstrate your mettle. Because there are trials that I can observe from afar, and others that I must see at hand. We have reached the trial that I must be present for, if I am to test you truly. What you need to do and why you must do it are two very different matters, mortal. I deal in instructions, not explanations. Indeed. Perhaps not. Now that your trial has concluded, come with me. The Tuatha have yet to break down our doors, but I would not put that past them. The house is poised to collapse from the Tuatha's dissension and destruction, and I need one to help us. I know it is not the mortal way to test someone in a manner such as this. The beast, the poison, it was all done out of necessity. I did not need you to understand the trial. I only needed it completed. I do not have time for you to meet the struggles of the house unprepared. Your reactions were real, but the Fae with whom you interacted, Tybri, Kadarok, and myself, were not. They were but apparitions of the Fae you will come to know in this house. As facsimiles, the apparitions were appropriate enough, but I think you will find their real-world counterparts more complex. Then welcome to our ranks, mortal. The Hearthstone I gave you at the start of the trials will now reflect your affinity with us. Come, join me at the House of Sorrows. I will show you a world stranger than you have ever seen. If we are to discuss the plight of the house, I will do so at his heart. Come, meet me in the main hall of the House of Sorrows, and we will speak more. The Prince of Sorrows once, but now, no longer. He wages a war against the Tuatha with little support but his own strength. Perhaps that is enough for him, but the only thing he will weaken is the house's morale. To your kind, it is a celebration of war. But before your mortal corpses were hung there by Tuatha, it was the emblem of our house's duty. The most reverent corpses were placed not in the midden, but hung upon those boughs, to show all of nature that we still revere our essence of decay. But like all things in these lands, the tree has been defiled by war. Saturnin took our greatest symbol and turned it to filth. My summer brethren embody the growth and progression of nature. As such, establishing the summer realms came easy to them. But the winter fae bear the burden of regression and decay in their essence. Left alone, they would never be able to overcome such a weight. They could never unite. The house's founder, the Weeping King, took on their sorrows and freed them. We carry the burden inherent in the winter fae, so they can achieve greatness. The House of Sorrows made a pact with the Tuatha. They would not interfere with us if we did not interfere with their war with the Alfar. Of course, the Tuatha did not trust us, so they insisted that a new king be appointed to the house, one agreeable to both parties. In the end, I was the one chosen. I was to be king. But in answering that call, I have been labeled a traitor by many within the house. He is the agent of the Tuatha, and though he bears their allegiance, his appearance is that of a winter fae. I am certain of it. I know little of him, but of me and my house, his knowledge is wide and deep. With every action, he reveals that he is merely toying with us. He is not a type of foe I am familiar with, for he does not attack outright. Instead, he instills fear and despair. The Midden is the cradle in which our race of winter was fostered. It is a place of rot, of decay, a place where the House of Sorrows holds reign. The Far Kelidae, they call themselves. The Faithful. They take the Fae of Winter and craft them into an army. But they know little of true devotion. I have a task for you. Of late, there are many in this house who have come to view my authority with disdain. As such, there is need of someone unbiased by our house's history and the traditions therein. Someone such as you. We must move quickly. The Tuatha will not hold their strikes for long. Let us stop their next blow. You fail to understand. Although the Tuatha wage war with us, as they have with the Alfar, they do so by other methods. Our enemies are subtle. They target individuals, not armies. They strike at convictions, not cities. And by doing so, they can retreat to where we cannot find them. For all our years of struggle, we know only this, that our enemy is led by a Tuatha agent, Saturnin. He is the master of this shadowy coup. We cannot right now. He hides himself and covers his tracks well. But I have a lead which you will investigate with one of our delvers, Tybri. A tender, Katarok, has fled the house and killed a fellow member in doing so. I suspect Saturnin's influence, or perhaps that Katarok might be Saturnin himself. Bring Tybri to the body of Katarok's victim. Though dead, the Sorrows will remain on the corpse. The Sorrows can lead us to Katarok. Members of the House may choose one of two paths. The path of the Delver, or the path of the Tender. Delvers are those who commune with the sorrows of the living Fae and the recently deceased. They draw forth these sorrows and assume them. However, most Delvers lost their talent over these last few centuries. But our youngest, Tybri, shows some promise. The Tenders are those sacred few who oversee the decay and decomposition of a Winter Fae's body. They also oversee the Midden itself. For like a body, the Midden is a physical thing, a vessel for rot and ruin, that which is required for death to become rebirth. Finally, they once tended to the gallows tree, but that was before the Tuatha perverted it.
Mortal, there is something that requires the attention of one of your kind. You have been to the Midden, yes? The sacred ground being desecrated by the corpses of your kind? The nature of my request is not something the Midden needs, but something the Midden should do without. The corpses of your brethren have been thrown into the Midden as a declaration of hostility by the Tuatha. But they do more than signify a point. Their corruption and rot have drawn an ancient Lianshi Mithra from slumber. She gluts herself on the bodies and will further corrupt the Midden if unchecked. To feed, Lianshi are drawn to death and decay, something Winter Fae embody in spirit, but which mortals embody in flesh. When mortal corpses began appearing in the Midden, Mithra was unable to resist the temptation before her, and now she runs rampant. You cannot hope to solve the problem with a simple application of violence. Biathra is old, and she is wise to obvious attacks on her. Searching will yield no quarry, so you must be cunning. If we cannot find her in the Midden, we can force her to return to her den beneath the house. Find fresh corpses, the ones Mithra prefers to eat, and cremate them. With no food to scavenge, she will return to her den. Then you can kill her. If there was anyone meant to bear the title King of Sorrows, it was him. Had we not succumbed to the Tuatha's bargaining, he would have been king. Instead, we turned our backs on him. The gallows tree is the silent sentinel of the Midden, demonstrating how life grows out of death. It justifies our existence, defines it. It is a symbol not only of the House of Sorrows, but of the Winter Fae. To bear one's corpse upon it was a sacred rite, until the Tuatha defiled it with mortal remains. It is from these halls that we of the House safeguard the oldest traditions of winter. It must be shown due reverence. She is an ancient and powerful Lianshi. Normally she hibernates in the Midden, but the recent influx of dead mortals has driven her to feed. It will only be a matter of time before she further corrupts the Midden with her presence. For the House's sake, she must be put down. I have nothing more to say about him other than history will know him as the victor. We keep the Midden as a monument to the debt we Winter Fae have made with nature. But now the Midden is defiled, and we can do our task no longer. It was a gift of the Earth to commemorate the rot and decomposition of the Fae. Then the Tuatha sullied it with the corpses of their prisoners. Mortals do not decay like Fae do. Mortals putrefy and corrupt. The Midden and the House now feel this grisly taint. Make haste.
So, you were the mortal. There were whispers that Bizarane had welcomed one of you amongst us. But to pick the siege breaker, I am awed. I forget myself. Bizarane has made his wishes clear, and we must do as he asks. Are you ready to begin? I am Tybri. I have only 2 centuries to my name. I was asked to join the house because of my abilities. I can hear them. The sorrows in people. The essence of decay and ruin that precedes winter. I can even hear the sorrows faintly in you. Few delvers are left who can hear any sorrows at all, but never have any claim to hear them as much as I. Many believe me to be a liar, or an abomination. The Midden was once a sacred place for the House of Sorrows, for all Winter Fae, where the bodies of the dead were left to decompose. Our bodies do not rot as mortal corpses do, so when Saturnin placed the bodies of mortals here, they putrefied, corrupting the Midden. Scavengers and beasts now roam the Midden, and the body we seek is deep within. I must have someone to watch my back. Farewell. The body is here. I must begin my work. But the magic is sure to draw the wild fae in the area. Hold them back while I commune with the sorrows. Farewell. It is done. Cadoroc's sorrows left a strong impression on the corpse. He is hiding in the Siren Crypt in the drowned forest. You should go there, but be wary. The impression Cadoroc left on the body was conflicted. Something is not right here. I will return to the house. With the beast beaten back, it should prove safe enough now. We, are the backbone of the house. Delvers can look into the essence of Winterfell, find the sorrows within, and take upon that burden. The Weeping King was the first to perform this function. The Delvers witnessed his powers, and imitated as they could. Only now, no Delver has this art, save for me. It is the emblem of the house. It is the heart of the midden. It is said it has always been here, even during the times of the Weeping King. It is the emblem of the house. To be a member of the house is a great honour. Without the House of Sorrows, there would be no Court of Winter, no culture in these lands, only winter. He is the Faithlog Tocht, the choking vine. He reaches from briars dark and unknown to strangle the life from us. Before there was a Court of Winter, before there was a House of Sorrows, there was the Midden, a place where Winterfell would come to die. The bodies left to rot here mark the covenant of the house. Though the Winterfell may stave off decay to create its courts and culture, they cannot escape it forever. Farewell.
I have felt the energies of Mithra fade to Ashara, mortal. I am glad that this business is concluded. At least the Midden will not be in danger of corruption any more than it already is. I thank you for your part in keeping it so. As payment, take this bauble. I discovered it on a body on one of your kind. May it be useful to you in your travels. Yes, yes.
I know you. You are the one who slew the Baelor at Melson Shear. I was at that battle as well. It was my unit that drove the Tuatha off the southern wall. Please, you must help me. Those Jotun will not let me survive much longer. The key to this cage is held by a Jotun rune lord just down the road. That fat bastard comes by here every morning and taunts me with it. Please, retrieve it and get me the hell out of here. After the siege was broken, my commander saw the Witch Knight Claren fleeing to the east. He thought that if we could catch him before he made it to Alabastra, we could get rid of one of the Tuatha generals. We did not count on Claren having a refuge full of Jotun mercenaries. Thank you. The Jotun Rune Lord is just down the road. Please hurry, for I have unfinished business in the keep on the hill. Many soldiers of the Alpha army were drafted, but I volunteered. I could not watch as my southern cousins were annihilated. I have been fighting alongside my brethren for years, and just as I was starting to think that this war would never end, you showed up. Thank you, hero, for giving me hope. They are vile creatures. I do not know how anyone can stand to be around them. You would have to be desperate to hire them as mercenaries. The wind is ferocious, the rocks are sharp, and the water is still and black. You could not find a more inhospitable place. I have never encountered another Fae like him. He is one of the most sadistic generals of the Tuatha army. I do not think he even cares about their religion anymore. He just wants to see the world bathed in blood. Good luck. Please tell me that barrel of Cruddock slime died painfully. I have another favor to ask of you, hero. The Witch Knight Claren is holed up in Gennig, the keep on the hill. Meet me inside so that we can hunt him. We cannot let one of the Tuatha's generals escape. Until the next time.
Faithful, a child of dust is here for death. Grant their pitiful wish. Fear not what is over you, and blesses you with her unyielding rage. No longer shall we tolerate the mortals and their vile presence in our world. So, the undying mortal from the well has returned. Your mere existence is an abomination against all things. How can you not see this? Mortals pervert the world, twisting it to their own ends. Your unnatural new life is only the latest in a long line of your kind's debaucheries. But Tiernok the Merciful chose me to be the cure. My army is the wildfire that will clear the land of you and your kind.
There are rumblings in the Court of Winter. There are Fae who are preaching beyond a world of rot. They fly in the face of sorrows, the cycles. They do not honor our tradition, but they are wrong. There is no winter without death. There is no growth without decay.
I am Megan, nurse to the wounded soldiers. Stay safe.
Interested in a trinket or a gem? Reality's another time then.
Good, you are here.
Clarin has filled this place with Jotun mercenaries. He must not have had that much faith in the Tuatha cause. We cannot let him escape. He must die. No doubt he has surrounded himself with Jotun guards. This will not be easy. Good luck. to his blades, my friends, my comrades. Even seeing his broken body does nothing to lessen my anger. All of the Tuatha will suffer for their barbarity. Thank you, hero. I will return to the main Alpha army with the news of the Witch Knight's death. Until next time.
Do not be alarmed, young one. I am not your enemy. Not all of the Winter Fae have joined the ranks of the Tuatha. I am awaiting the return of my beloved Alea. She fell under the spell of the Tuatha and marched north with their vile army. Among them she perished, one of the many to fall at Melsenshir. I wonder, could you help me with a small task? I need this ring placed inside of a hollow. I am forbidden from entering Ranil. When Alea fell under the spell of the Tuatha, I tried to convince her that it was lunacy, but her belief was fanatical. She banished me from her presence and that of her hollow. Thank you, mortal. Alea's hollow is called Ranil. It lies on the southern edge of the Keening. There is a small altar at its bottom. Place the ring there. I wish to show Alea that my love has remained true, and that I wait for her still. My beloved, we have always been together through every turn of the great cycle. But with the coming of the Tuatha, she changed. She no longer cared for the balance, only for their new god. I tried to convince her to return to the cycle, but she wouldn't listen. She marched with the Tuatha army to Melsenshir and fell during the battle. I did not join the Tuatha when they came, even as other that I cared for fell under their spell. The great cycle and the balance are what I follow. This war of theirs is lunacy. Ranil is a Fey hollow on the southern edge of the Keening. It is where Alea returns after each turn of the great cycle. Even here, the Tuatha created death and destruction. When they summoned Balor, the region was consumed in flames. It will be a long time before anything grows in the charred path he left behind. I do not understand them or their new god. My friends among them have become wild, not like themselves at all. They are cruel and distant now, fanatical in their beliefs. Farewell. Impressive, is it not? This is where the greater Niskaru, Balor, was summoned. Thank you for placing the ring, mortal. Alea will know that I remain true to her and that I wait for her still. Do you see the crater behind me? It was created when Balor was summoned into this world. One of the greater Niskaru. He wielded power that no mortal should have been able to stand against. I do not understand how anyone's fate could have been to slay such a beast. Goodbye, mortal. Impressive, is it not? Goodbye.
You there! The hero of Melsenshir? I did not expect to find you in this damned swamp. We couldn't have picked a worse time to travel in the drowned forest. We've heard the voices, so we know it's there, and not far. Our orders were to survey, though. We're to avoid it if we can. There's something about the water in this swamp. Every year, Banshane and Mergen come swarming back, and every year, hordes of new Mergen pour out. Ooh, I shudder just thinking about it. I had resigned myself to death before that final battle. When Balor fell, it was like being granted a new life, a new fate. I joined the Alpha army right before we took back Melsenshir. A glorious battle! My captain fell during the siege, before Balor fell. Afterwards, I was promoted and put in charge of securing the road through the drowned forest. It's all these damn Mergen. We've arrived just in time for their spawning season. They're filling the swamp and tearing my men to pieces. I don't know how many Banshein are out there, but I venture it's more than one. If you could lend us a hand and destroy any Banshein you find, I'd be forever grateful. I know it's disgusting to imagine, but Banshein are the mothers of those slimy creatures. Every year they return to this swamp and a new wave of Mergen spews forth. Thank you. They seem to be coming from several nests to the west. Find the Banshein and destroy them. Be wary, they're always guarded by more Mergen. Disgusting creatures. I never dreamt I'd end up in one of their swamps. The spawn of Banshein. You'll find them in damp, miserable places like this. Those tridents they carry pierce steel like it was paper. Tread cautiously.
You are Bizerain's cat's paw, then? I knew he had let a mortal into the house's ranks. But this is who he sends to do his dirty work. Fie on him! You may return me to the cycle, but if you ever see your master, tell him this. He will never get his hands on the Sorrows. I, all of us, will stop him.
You have finally returned. Much has happened since you were away. The house has been sundered. Not by Tuatha, but by ourselves. The house has rebelled. The other members of the house have marched against the Tuatha. I'm afraid they may have attacked Bizarane. I do not think he is dead, but we must see to him. Saturnin is watching us, I can sense it. If Bizarane is left undefended, it will be difficult for you to understand, but many did not consider Bizarane the true king of our house. While many wanted to war with the Tuatha, Bizarane stayed our hands. And while our house collapsed around us, Bizarane did nothing. I will not lie. Though I see the value of your presence, many felt that bringing a mortal into our ranks crossed the line. With you, Bizarane made his final error. Yes, unfortunately the doors to the house are barred from the inside. I'm capable of shadow stepping through, but I'm afraid that you, as a mortal, must take a longer route. Go through the proving halls, but be warned, Bolgun roam those corridors now. Saturnin's already started moving to crush us. Farewell.
You have arrived as Tybri said you would. It is good that you were able to get through the proving halls unscathed. But there are greater events at work here. The house may have breathed its last. He has wreaked havoc within the house and loosed horrors that none of us dare witness a second time. He is our foe, and he must be stopped. The rebels have begun a march of folly to make war on the Tuatha. As they said, they are rallying at a fortress called the Fallen Hall. I sought to stay them. They ignored me. I sought to warn them. They paid no heed. For them, the war started when I became the King of Sorrows. And now, my reign ends. Saturnin wants this, mortal. Without leadership, the rebels will be easily picked off. And so it falls to you and Tybri to save them. Years ago, the House of Sorrows and the Tuatha made a pact of necessity. The house would remain free of the Tuatha, but could not interfere with their war. In addition, the Tuatha demanded we appoint a more amiable king, one who would uphold the pact. And so I was named. I became the face of our submission, and when Saturnin led the Tuatha to fight us, the house had no reason left to heed me. Saturnin has made a miscalculation in moving to kill these rebels. Namely, he did not foresee you. We must exploit this fact. Saturnin will have to reveal himself in some form. Go south and learn all you can from him. Kill him if possible. I have instructed Tybri to assist you as best she can, but she is not as suited to this work as you, mortal. Look after her.
There is no time. We must go to the Fallen Hall. Farewell. Look, that must be the leader. That was the leader. It must have been Saturnine. And if he's heading in there, that must be where the rest of the House of Sorrows are. We have to get past this door. We need to stop him before the rebels are all killed. The Fallen Hall is a fortress in the Feylands. To get to its heart, we will need to open 3 great doors. There should be 2 other sigil stones that we can use in addition to the one before us. They will grant us passage. Farewell.
Oh, this is splendid. I was worried I would have nothing left to see to after I slaughtered these wretches. Saturnin. You use that name so freely, but your little guess is wrong. I am not Saturnin. I am but a blade that Saturnin has employed in his war. And now, that blade turns on you. You are more amusing than I originally believed. But my master has given me instructions to spare you. Saturnin has a message for you to deliver to your master. This war is over. Soon the Sorrows will belong to the Tuatha.
I can scarcely believe it. All this death, all this destruction, and we have nothing to show for it. No Saturnin, no safety. The Weeping King left the world with good cause. For all that is left of the House of Sorrows is ruin. We must return to Bizrain with this news. He will want to know what has happened here. Farewell.
Saturnin, this latest wound he has dealt may be fatal. He need only for us to succumb, and then he can find these sorrows. So that is what we will deny him. Let our losses harden our resolve. Where once we sought victory, we shall now seek attrition. Fae are the embodiment of magic. When a Delver takes the burden of winter from a Fae, those burdens are in the form of magic. Over centuries, these magics have been collected, contained in a secret location, the sorrows that Saturnin seeks. It is a difficult magic for a mortal mind to grasp, but the accumulation of centuries of sorrows is a fearsome weapon indeed. The burden of a single lifetime of sorrows can be debilitating. Their impact can instill madness or drive a life to end itself. Saturnin would hold a millennium of sorrows. With them, he could obliterate an army's morale and send them from victory to bedlam. Their location is an ancient secret. Only two Fae, the eldest, know. They left the house centuries ago to reside in Amalur. The way to them is blocked by the Great Scale, a mighty spell which you must bypass. That alone will open your path to the eldest. You must kill beasts on the pans of the scale. Death is the only weight it will bear. Kael'rad and Alarain are two of the oldest Fae in the Winter Realm. So old that they predate the house itself. With the death of the house's original ruler, the Weeping King, they fled. Their devotion was to the sorrows, not to winter. It is a manifestation of magic that prevents intruders from disturbing the perpetual reverie of the eldest. From what I understand, the sides of the room take the role of a scale, and whoever wishes passage must use death itself to manipulate the scale. The only weight the pans of the scale will acknowledge is death. When something dies on the scale, it will shift you one step closer to the eldest. The sorrows are an accumulate. The sorrows represent I have for centuries, the delvers of the house of this amalgam of magic and emotion was collected and concentrated into a single powerful soul.
Have you perchance met an Almain around here named Deod Dungaris? The damned fool got himself dragged off by Murgan. I'm a field researcher for the Livrarium in Edessa. I travel and acquire items for gnomes who know best what to do with them. I am on an important mission for Templar Julius Mavern. He has sent me to recover an artifact from Bunlach this hulking castle here. Things haven't gone entirely to plan. I got stuck in Melsenshire for what seemed like an eternity, and now Morgan have run off with my porter. Would you help me out for a bit? I'll pay you for your time. I'm afraid I don't know the exact details, only that it is small and easy to carry. It must have been built by fools, constructed right in the middle of a Morgan breeding ground. Didn't take long for the Morgan to move in and make a feast of the original owners. Great. First, please retrieve my pack from those Morgan. Deod was carrying it when he was captured, and it contains the key to the castle. I'll meet you at the entrance to Bunloch once you've retrieved it. No one has lived there for centuries. Not surprising, since it was built in the middle of Morgan breeding grounds. I hired him as a porter from the Rathier docks. It wasn't easy finding someone to accompany me to this swamp. Of course, the instant we're in sight of the castle, Morgan ambushed us and made off with him. If the disease and wildlife don't kill you, the Morgan will. As you've realised, if you've come this far, it's a dangerous swamp. My employer is a collector of ancient artifacts. He's very secretive and keeps to himself, but I suspect he is seeking something specific. I hadn't expected to be delayed there for so long. It was just impossible to sneak through the opposing lines before the siege was broken. Nasty creatures. They exploded out of the water and snatched Deod before I could react.
Mortals stole the secrets of magic, and now they come to take our land. But all that they find here shall be death. You struggle against the force of a simple army. How will you fare, I wonder, against the power of a god? Only a fool denies the power they can feel. She's been speaking more and more, and she has such interesting things to say about you. Soon, Tiernoch the Merciful will come to our world in person. Then we'll see whose life is a lie, and whose life is nothing but salt and cinders.
You found my pack, and the key to Bunloch. It's still here. Good. Now we just need to find that artifact. A shame about poor Deod. He was a steadfast worker, and I never heard a complaint out of him. Oh well, these things happen. I'll meet you inside, and we'll begin our search for the artifact. I'm heading to Bunloch. Meet me inside and...
The Tuatha have brought war to the Winter Fae. They bring us all into this conflict and turn the Court of Winter into some engine of war. But the House of Sorrows would not join. They resisted. They were the sole embodiment of all winter, all that was great and unique about our people. It could not be so easily discarded.
The artifact will be in the library, near the back of the castle. You lead, I'll follow. That's it? Not very impressive, is it? I wonder what's inside. Doesn't look like we'll be able to get it open, but my employer might. Here is your reward, as promised. If you'll excuse me, I don't want to linger here.
Strike her down and salt the earth of her grave. Nothing may live, lest Tirnoch commands it. Mortals are born to die. In Tirnoch's name, we must lead them to their fate. Try as you might, struggle as you will, you are deluded. There is no winning for you, only death. Yes, but death as you define it means little to us. The great cycle returns each Tuatha as Tuatha again. And every time they do, Tirnoch gets stronger. Soon, she will be born into this world. You will witness her power personally, and it will be the last thing your mortal flesh shall ever feel.
You there! The Mergen numbers have already decreased. Thank you. Now we can press forward and drive the damned Tuatha back into their hole. Take this. It's not much, but I hope it helps somehow. Take heed out there.
Cadfro's voice has fallen silent in this land. The Tuatha are frightened and disorganized. They run back to Alabastra to make their final stand. We owe you much. Our eyes are opened and our blades unsheathed. Cluricon is won, but the House of Pride stands between us and the final goal. We are now free to press forward, and I can take you to an old friend who knows the next step. Yes, we will take you to his filthy tower on the island of Danistar. He hides within, and has not emerged in some time. I would like nothing more than to let him rot there. But he knows of a way past the sentinel of the House of Pride. But there will be more danger on the path ahead. Take these blades to prepare for whatever troubles you will face at his tower or beyond. Far to the southwest, there is a darkened tree by the Caelid coast. Meet me there, and we can walk the shadow to the gnome's tower. Aelin Shear will be waiting there. She was most insistent to join in whatever business you have with the Collector of the Dead. Danistar Island is sheltered from visitors by stone and storm. Exiles of the Winter Court were once banished to its lonely shores. We know of a secret shadowed path, a legacy from a house all too familiar with exile. My people are no strangers to exile on the barren island of Danistar. To steal back our freedom, the House of Sorrows forged a path to the coast through living shadow. It's safe so long as you keep your eyes closed during the journey and ignore the whispers. We've seen Ventrinio leave the island before, but until recently, he always had company. Usually they were henchmen. Sometimes they were corpses. And once, not too long ago, it was you. We will meet again at the shadowed tree